below. Please do not be alarmed. I am Alyssa's assistive communication robot. I am here in place of Alyssa so she can reserve her energy and voice for the upcoming documentary she's working on. I will be speaking in the first person from here on out, reading her script. First, if you subscribed for autism and mental health related content, please stay subscribed and hit the notification bell. This video and the next I will upload aren't directly related to autism, but will touch on some facets of being autistic. And stay tuned, because I do have some autism-related videos planned out to make and upload in the future. If this video or the next isn't not your cup of tea, feel free to skip these and wait for my next videos aimed at helping autistic people. Thanks. Also, if you do watch this video and like it, give it a thumbs up and comment. This will help the algorithm. God bless my small meager channel. Today's video is about labels. Mostly concerning sexualities, but will also touch on mental health and neurology labels. Labels are an interesting thing. Labels essentially exist so we can categorize things and people, and understand the world around us, and understand ourselves. Labels are necessary, just as language is necessary, as it is an element of language. At the same time, it's possible I think to get carried away with too many labels, or a lot of different words to describe the same thing, sort of like the English language in general. My personal approach to this issue is balance. If you clicked on this video thinking I was going to give a definite yes or no answer to the title, are labels helpful or harmful? You might be disappointed because it's not a black and white issue, so I can't give a definite yes or no. There are a lot of people who think that there's way too many labels to describe all the sexualities and genders. And it's understandable. If you've ever looked at the LGBT wiki, the number of labels seems infinite. There's no way you could learn all of them, it would be too overwhelming. On top of that, there are additional categories like MOGI, an acronym meaning marginalized orientations, gender alignments and intersex, that adds even more numerous and obscure labels to the pre-existing ones, including some that can seem redundant or unnecessary. So, I can empathize with people who get frustrated at all this new jargon being invented. But I also understand the other side of this issue. Like I said earlier, labels are a tool for us to try and put words to our experiences. They can help us find communities of people who are like us, and we are social creatures. We do need other people, so finding people who relate to our experience, especially if we have a really unique experience and feel isolated, those words can help us find those people. I know for me, when I was diagnosed autistic around 12 years old, I didn't know a whole lot of autistic people. The label by itself did help others adjust their expectations of me to be more realistic, and helped me get accommodations I needed in school. So it was definitely helpful for me to get the diagnosis when I did, because I might not be here otherwise, or at least, if I was, I'd be a lot more traumatized and a lot less functional. In addition, when I started using the internet more, I would look up information on autism and eventually came across groups of people on the autism spectrum, and videos from autistic people on the experience of being autistic. I felt validated and seen, and had a lot less shame about the fact that I'm autistic. That's one of the toughest things, when you are different, whether it's because of your neurology, like being autistic, or having a mental illness, or a unique experience of sexuality or gender. It's common for us to have to combat shame, especially if you are a black sheep in your community or family. So, combating shame and promoting self-acceptance is definitely a positive effect of finding the right labels and their communities. Something I've found over time, as I was diagnosed with other conditions like OCD and ADHD, is that there is a lot of overlap between my experiences of those conditions. So something I've learned is that sometimes you do need multiple terms to describe an experience, and that it's normal for those experiences to overlap with other terms. The same seems to apply to my experience of sexuality. There are a lot of overlaps between my experiences. For instance, preferring solo adult fun time over sexual contact with other people could fit under several labels, including libidoist, asexual, and autosexual. And sometimes there are more complicated factors at play, like for me, my libido greatly varies with my hormonal cycle, so that also contributes to my experience of sexuality. That being said, I think it's important to have balance. And the reason I wanted to touch on this topic is because there are people who take it to the extreme in either direction. Like taking on a label as their whole identity, or taking on too many labels to keep track of, or boxing themselves in by trying to fit the exact stereotype of a specific label. Or thinking that all labels are inherently a bad thing, that taking on a label automatically means boxing yourself in or limiting yourself, or that labels are nothing more than contagious but meaningless trends. If I had a message for either of these types of people: first, labels are language. They are one way of describing specific parts of your human experience. They are valuable because they help us understand ourselves and other people, but ultimately cannot fully capture all the nuances of human experience. Know that it's okay to be variable as a person. If you put yourself in a box that you end up not fitting in later, don't force yourself to stay there. It's okay to reassess and find a more accurate label. It's also okay to not always have words to describe every experience. Also, labels are not inherently a threat, especially ones that have no impact on your life. You have the freedom to think that labels like moon gender or any other silly-sounding identities are ridiculous, but at the same time, those people also have the freedom to identify however they wish. You are not obligated to accept it or be besties with those people, but in the end, the best thing we can do is be decent to each other and live and let live. The reason I brought up this topic in this video is because I'm working on a short documentary on a specific label that I've realized describes some of my experiences. And since it's a label not a lot of people are aware of, I thought it might be interesting to cover. It could spark curiosity, a good conversation, and more awareness. My hope is that by explaining my viewpoint on labels in this video, it could help reassure people who are skeptical on these issues, so they know I'm coming from a nuanced perspective and not just trend hopping for fun. I also would encourage anyone who chooses to watch my next video to leave a comment, tell me your thoughts, ask questions, but ultimately, be nice. Thank you.